Our guest is Lex Heathershaw, Wall High School Activities Director and their head football coach of the Wall Eagles. Lex, how you doing?
Doing good, man. How are you doing?
Good. We appreciate you taking time to talk some high school football.
Yeah, man, we're excited, and things are, it's been a crazy year, but we've been pretty successful so far, and we're just really excited for the playoffs to get started.
In Class A, the Wall Eagles are tops in Region 4 at 7-0. You must have a good coaching staff.
Yeah, this is our second year with the same coaching staff. Last year, I was the only returning coach, from 2 previous seasons ago. And so last year we had pretty much an entire new coaching staff, at least in our high school. Our junior high coaches had returned from previous years, but kind of had to restart last year with some new coaches. And so this is our second year with the same coaching staff, and that's really shown some benefits for us. My assistants are David Ermish, he's our defensive coordinator, and Garrett Bryan, and he kind of works with our offensive defensive line. And then Preston Eisenbrown, he volunteers for us and helps us out, and he works a lot with our quarterbacks and then our defensive backs as well. And then during our game nights, our head junior high coach comes to those games, and he's up in the box for us along with Preston. So got a really good crew, and we're just really starting to trust each other a lot more as a coaching staff. And we've really seen that produce some nice things, because not only are we trusting each other, but our boys are really buying into the system and what Coach Ermish is bringing to the table defensively for us too. And it's been really nice in our second year with the same coaching staff.
Yeah, that continuity in coaching staff, I think, makes a big difference. And you've done well, especially the last couple of years. The only thing that kept you from the state title was teams who won the state title.
Yeah, 2 years ago we go 10-1, lose to Cologne in the semifinals, and they go on and win the championship over Silly Buttes. And then the following year, last year, we ended up losing in the quarterfinals to Canastota, and they kind of handled us, but they ended up moving on all the way to the state championship game and winning that as well. So we feel like we're right there as a team, and hopefully we can keep moving forward, keep learning every day, and just take it one step at a time.
You've got some seniors on the team that probably pretty valuable with their leadership.
Yeah, definitely. This year going into the season, someone asked me what the keys to our success was, and one of the things I mentioned was our leadership. And we only have 4 seniors on the team this year, but they're really key pieces for us. All 4 of them play both ways, and our seniors this year are Bridger Amiot, Tack Tinas, Tegan Spring, and Bryson Cheney. And like I said, all 4 of those guys play both ways for us, and they've really done some nice things on the field, but even more importantly, just their attitude about everything this year and what they want to get done, and the goals that they have in mind of winning a state championship have really reflected onto our younger kids and in the group as a whole. So it's been really nice to have those seniors leading us.
Well, that's huge when the seniors know how to win, and those young kids coming up rubs off on them.
Definitely, and it really has. And some of these guys, have been getting a little bit of playing time all the way back to, when they were freshmen. They got to see just a little bit of action here and there. And then, as the years went on, these seniors have really stepped up for us, and they're a talented group. I know, like I said, there's only 4 of them, but really key pieces for us, and I'm just super proud of what they've done so far for us.
One of the top teams in the state year after year is Harding County, and you started off the season with a win over them.
Yeah, Harding County is always a fun game for us. We feel like us and Harding County are always respectable teams, especially West River, and they traditionally have a good program, and their coach Jay Wallman always has them ready to go and ready to fire. I know they had a couple injuries this year in their first game, and so that that hurt those guys a little bit, but we were able to take care of business, and that was kind of a crazy game too. The lights actually went out on us in the third quarter, so that game ended a little bit early, but was nice to be able to get a win over a quality team. I think we ended up winning 27-0 this year over Hardin County.
Well, you mentioned your seniors. You also got right up and down the line on the roster with all the other freshmen, sophomores, juniors. Got a lot of great players, including a freshman quarterback.
Yeah, Bert Glacius plays quarterback for us. He he's done a really nice job, and the seniors have, kind of helped him to have some confidence and just told him to kind of do his thing, and he's been doing that for us. Right now, I think he actually had to miss 2 games this season, him and his brother alike. His brother Blair is a heck of a player for us too, and but both those boys had to miss 2 games this season, so their stats are, not what some are, but when you look at their stats and then you realize they didn't play 2 games, they're pretty darn good. I think Burke has over 600 yards passing for us and eight passing touchdowns, and he's super accurate and does a really nice job, especially for a freshman. And I think the future is really bright for him as long as he continues to work.
Good receivers.
Yeah, when you start talking about the rest of our team after our seniors, you got Burke at quarterback. Then we got a lot of talent. Our the first and foremost, it's really our offensive line that's done it for us. And I'll get to our skill players too, but our offensive line has just really stepped up to the plate, and we had to fill 2 positions from last year. We lost our 2 starting guards from last year, and Tegan, one of our seniors, took one of those spots, and then Cole Sandals, a junior this year, he's at the other guard. And our center this year is MST Heathershaw, so they're kind of our interior linemen. And then our 2 ends, which would be tackles if you're thinking 11-man, but they play tight end for us, and that's Bryson Cheney and Reed Hansen. And then Blair Blasius comes in at tight end as well. But our front line's really just done a fantastic job, and we never have to worry about the snap getting to where it needs to be. Matthew's done a really nice job with that, and their communication's great up front and really kind of paved the way for us. So, without them, our skill guys wouldn't be able to do what they do. And those guys for us, we already talked about Burke, but Bridger's kind of our starting running back. I think he's got close to 700 yards rushing, and he had to play quarterback for a couple games as well. And so he's got a passing touchdown, I think, too. And then we kind of have 3 receivers, and they all our main receivers are Cedar, Amiot, and Tack Tinas. But Tack and Cedar both kind of play running back every once in a while too. So our stats are all over the place. But Tack is leading us in receiving yards right now. I think he's close to 300 receiving yards, and has, I believe, 5 receiving touchdowns. And then Cedar Amiot has 230 yards receiving. And then kind of our next sub is Rylan McDonald. He's a young guy too. Him and Cedar are both sophomores, and they just really do a nice job for us. Their route running's really good, and their hands are great too. So a lot of youth there in our skill positions, and Bridger has been a handful for a lot of defenses to shut down in the running game. So all over the place. We just feel pretty confident about what we can do offensively.
And you've had like 3 shutouts too, and then some of the other games you've held teams to like 6 points and 12 points. Kadoka only 12 points. Good defense too.
Yeah, defensively, again, I'd like to just probably point out our defensive line first. I mentioned the Blasius boys had to miss 2 games, and in those 2 games we had to play Kadoka and Phillip. And the Blasius boys at the time were our leading tacklers. And so we had to have some guys step up to the plate for us as Burke and Blair were linebackers. And our defensive line, for one, stepped up, and they're really hard to handle. I think our leading tackle right now is Norman Livermont. He plays on the end for us at defensive end. And then Tegan Spring and Bryson Cheney, they're our other linemen on that defensive front. And man, they're nasty up front, and they do a really nice job for us, and it helps our linebackers to get into their fits. And our linebackers are the 2 Blasius boys, like I mentioned, Blair and Burke, and they're just sure tacklers as you can find. And then you got the Amiot brothers as well, so we got 2 sets of brothers at linebackers, and that's really nice to have. And 3 of them are underclassmen. Burke's a freshman, and Blair and Cedar are both sophomores. Bridger's our senior. He kind of leads that defense for us, makes our calls. And then, our guys in coverage, they've done a really nice job too, and they're young as well. We got a safety. Our starting safety is a freshman. That's Brody Sundahl. and he just has a lot of great game knowledge, and he can kind of see the field really well for us. And then the guy that we like to match up with other teams, their best receiver is Tactinus, and he's done that for the last 2 years for us. So got some experience in the backfield, but also some youth as well. So a lot of diversity as far as age goes there, but our defense, like you said, has been able to hold teams to minimal points, and we just hope we can keep that going through the playoffs.
Are you guys pumped up for the playoffs?
We're really excited. We don't know a lot about our first matchup. That's this Thursday. The game's at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, and we play Northwestern. And Northwestern, if some people don't know, Northwestern's up by Aberdeen. I think it's Millette. So they're going to have to travel quite a ways, but, we just don't have any common opponents. So it's kind of tough for us to tell, where we stand with them. But we're just hoping that we can come into that game and, have some juice and be fired up and hopefully, just execute on both ends of the ball and play solid defense. And hopefully our run game can get going, and then maybe that opens up our passing game as well.
I'm sure coming close to the state title last couple of years and not quite getting there really gives the kids some extra motivation this year.
Yeah, there's definitely some fire there. Our young guys that were able to play in that Canastota game last year, they were pretty disappointed last year in our efforts there in that Canastota game. And so we had a really nice off season with some guys, and we put in a lot of time. We went to camp at Shadron this year, and then we were fortunate to be able to do that and take some guys down to Shadron this summer. And we had a really successful camp, and that just kind of set us up for the season and got our guys excited. And yeah, they're really motivated, and they're confident that we can, make a pretty good push here in the playoffs and hopefully get ourselves to the Dakota Dome.
Lex Heathershaw with the Wall High School Football Eagles. We really appreciate you taking time to visit with us here on Black Hills TV.
Yeah, you bet, man. And again, just want to thank my coaching staff and our seniors for their leadership, and go Eagles.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.